Well, here we have it. I did one for the last election. I figured I might as well do one for this election too. And instead of ripping off or using a new blank sheet of paper to cover up the tier list as we advance it upwards, I figured I would use something that our current member of parliament had sent out to us. So, it's here. Anyway, let's get started. From the bottom. Someone I didn't put on the list because they aren't a person yet. The Green Party of Canada is in a leadership crisis. I'll let anybody who's interested look into that on their own. But point being, I don't really expect the current leader to be leader of the Green Party of Canada very much longer after this next election. If a miracle happens and a green wave just hits her somewhere Toronto Center riding, maybe she will, but I really don't expect that. Next up, Libertarian Party of Canada, Jacques Boudreau. Jacques? Jacques, I think. I am not French at all. I am sorry about that mispronunciation, but I didn't want to put him on the tier list either just because he became Libertarian Party leader like maybe a month ago, like during this election, I'm pretty sure, if not just barely before it. So he hasn't really had a chance to do anything. He is not on this list. So as we go farther up this list, you'll have parties on this side, various politicians, not only the politicians that are running in our riding, we have party leaders too, that sort of thing. So, yeah, let's start with F tier. At F tier, from the bottom, we obviously have Justin Trudeau. I don't know if there's any explanation needed, but we are almost all upset with Justin Trudeau on some level, at least for some things, unless you're a Liberal Party member, maybe an NDP or Green, but I figure most NDP and Greens are upset with him too. All these scandals, the way he treated members in his cabinet, Judy Wilson-Raybould, Elbowgate, there's Trudeau sucks. Annamie Paul, I went into that a little bit. This leadership crisis within the Greens and membership, the Greens are in crisis, and it is largely due to her inaction. So she's F tier. Cody Blois, F tier, mostly because he's a Liberal. He's only had 2 years so far. I'm very unimpressed, but at the same time, he is a novice MP. He could still grow. Like, I'm not counting him out yet. Anyway, let's keep going. E tier, we have local NDP candidate Stephen Schneider. I'm warming up to him just a little bit with his recent take on the Avon River issue, but his firearms take, not near as happy with him on. And just in general, he's highly qualified. I'll give him that, but that's about all there is to him that appeals to me at all. Aaron O'Toole, just, yeah, he's pretty uninspiring. I hear rumblings that he doesn't really even stick up for his own riding, so I have concerns about, yeah, I'm just not impressed with Aaron O'Toole. Moving on. D tier. See if we can adjust this all a little bit. There. D tier, we have Stephen Ford, Sheila Richardson, Cody Blois, if he was not with the Liberal Party, and Jagmeet Singh. Not sure if I should really go into these all that much. Stephen Ford, completely new, total greenhorn. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We could see more from him in the future, but I just I haven't been impressed with him at all. He's a PPC member, that's about what I know. If he wins, very unlikely, but I get the impression he would just be a PPC backbencher. It's he needs to be more accessible. He has a Twitter. He's fairly responsive on Twitter if you tweet at him, but you can't message him on Twitter as far as I've been aware of gone, and I just don't think he has that enabled, and I'd like to see more from him in the PPC, or at least a stronger PPC candidate in the future, but I haven't been impressed. Sheila Richardson, much the same. I like Sheila a lot. She's a very nice lady, but that's just, she's not exactly the type of person I'm hoping for in a member of parliament representative. Cody, like I said earlier, we could see more, much like with Stephen Ford. He's been in for 2 years. That's not all that long. The biggest problems I have with him are that he kind of tries to middle of the boat a lot of issues, and that he's a liberal. If he was an independent, as I'm demonstrating, he would be higher on my list. Jagmeet Singh, of the 3 big party leaders, I do like him the most. That's kind of why he's D tier. Let's go on. C tier. C tier, we have Mark Parent. He's our local CPC candidate. He was an environment cabinet minister provincially for a while, and I think a couple other portfolios. I don't really remember those. Like I say, environment's a pretty important issue to me. Yves-Francois Blanchet. I butchered that too. Sorry. Leader of the Bloc Québécois. Pretty cool guy as far as political leaders concerned. Like, he's not A tier, obviously, but he's higher than the big 3. Maxime Bernier, much the same. You gotta give him credit where credit is due. It is pretty impressive how far he has managed to get a party from scratch in only the time of 2 elections, so we'll see what progress he ends up making if he gets any MLAs elected or MPs elected this time around. So, knowing me, if you know me, I kind of could have put everybody in F tier. As, like, I didn't. It's a little bit charitable from me, but this is kind of where everybody falls as far as I'm concerned. Now, we have a couple more tiers up there. Let's just... B tier, we have nobody. There is nobody in B tier. It is what it is. A tier. A tier is a little bit different. Tim Moen is not the Libertarian Party leader anymore. He was Libertarian Party leader from 2014 until this year, when he was replaced with the new Libertarian Party of leader, Jacques Boudreau. I was really happy with Tim Moen as leader, and just the things he says, how accessible he was to everybody. I'm very happy with his performance as leader. I hope he sticks around in the Libertarian Party. As far as I'm aware, that's what his intention is. And yeah, if you haven't heard of him or you've never listened to anything he said before, look him up on YouTube. He's got a whole channel. Yeah. And the other A tier, if you were alive and aware at the time, this guy doesn't need much explanation. Jack Layton he actually brought optimism to politics, which is not an easy thing to do. He passed away probably a decade or more ago now. It's really sad. these are times where we could really benefit from him being around. And yeah, that's my tier list.